Winston Cup cars are near the end of their annual trek across these United States. In Riverside, California, they found that landmark under condominium construction. Dale Earnhardt looked for some shortcuts on his summer tour, taking this excursion on the Riverside landscape. Rusty Wallace grabbed a piece of history. He'll go down as the last Winston Cup Riverside victor. The points battle was getting hot, and so was the weather. All eyes were on Eastern favorite Geoff Bodine as he tried to cool things off with a win at Pocono. A return trip to Pocono would find the journey too much for Wallace's car, and a quick fill-up was all Bill Elliott needed to put himself in the driver's seat. Then north to the Irish Hills of Michigan, where fans found a bit of yard work was needed. And yards were all Rusty Wallace needed to win his second race of the year. He beat the Dawsonville gang at their own game. Then onto the friendly coast of Daytona and this 4th of July fireworks. On the front stretch, Bill Elliott and Rick Wilson traded some red, white, and blue paint all the way to the finish. Elliott was true to form. Next, Talladega, Alabama, where the weather was in midsummer form, 100 degrees plus. It was hot, and so was the racing. This traffic jam saw 10 cars battle to the finish, and Kenny Schrader take his first checkered flags. And so the lap around America is complete, and the road map tends to look a bit like the Watkins Glen road circuit. Appropriate because that's where we are today for the Budweiser at the Glen.
Well, Jerry, just before the cars fired out and they're leaving the pit area right now, I was standing on the grid around 5th, 6th, or 7th position. And I was thinking it was probably more appropriate that you, our racing broadcasting doctor, would have been there, because I felt like I was standing among Hospital Row. The guy who was supposed to be in the first bed in the 3rd row, he's not starting this race in that position. So we'll come back to that story. Ricky Rudd, who badly damaged the ligaments in his knee earlier in a racing crash, still says it hurts. The knee is heavily braced right now, but he was still able to get around this road course here at Watkins Glen. And then there's Harry Gant, who broke both the bones, the lower bones in his left leg, and he is driving with a cast. Despite that, he was able to shift. And Harry Gant, and now make that Neil Bonnet. Sorry about that. Neil Bonnet, despite all the medical problems that he has had over the last 2 seasons, if that weren't enough, he crashed heavily in the final practice session after yesterday afternoon's practice session.
So 40 cars are on their warm-up lap, and here now is the starting lineup for today's race. On the pole with a new record of 120.501 is Geoff Bodine driving car number 5. Outside of that first row will be Rusty Wallace in the Kodiak Pontiac, car number 27. In the second row, it'll be Bill Elliott in car number 9. Outside of that second row, Terry Labonte in the Budweiser car number 11. Row number 3 has Ricky Rudd in the number 26 machine. And outside of that row will be Harry Gant in car number 33. In the 4th row will be Ken Schrader. And alongside him will be Morgan Shepherd driving car number 88, the one usually driven by Buddy Baker. Then it's Phil Parsons on the inside of row number 5, and to his outside will be the number 17 car driven by Darrell Waltrip. Richard Petty then will start with Kyle Petty along in row number 6. The 7th row consists of Sterling Marlin and Michael Waltrip. Starting in row number 8 is number 15 Brett Bodine and 6 Mark Martin. In the 9th row, we'll have Dale Jarrett and Rick Wilson. Going to row number 10, it's Dave Marcus and Dale Earnhardt. In the 11th row, Alan Kowicki and Joe Ruttman. Row number 12 consists of Blake Speed and Bobby Gillen Jr. In the 13th row, Benny Parsons and Derek Cope. Row number 14 has Davey Allison and Rodney Combs. Jimmy Means and Mike Alexander start in row number 15. In the 16th row, it's Ernie Irvin and Jocko Majacomo. Row number 17, Ken Bouchard and Patty Moise. In the 18th row, it's Ronnie Saul and J.D. McDuffie. Row number 19, Herschel McGriff and Brad Knopfsinger. In the 20th row, it's Tom Brutzel and Neil Bonnet starting in car number 75, but it will be a yellow number 75, the backup car of Michael Waltrip. Now found 3/4 of a second that put him on the pole position for today's race. Let's see, however, how Rusty treats this start as the field comes off of corner number 7, and there is the green flag. The Budweiser at the Glen is underway. That's Darrell Waltrip on the left side of your screen trying to pass some cars going into turn number 1. Let's see how things shake out. It looks like that Geoff Bodine is going to win the battle to that first corner as they go through here 2 abreast.
Well, Bodine had the inside, and that's the place to be going into turn 1.
Terry Labonte has fallen into third position as Darrell Waltrip is trying the inside of the racetrack in an effort to move up through the field. They go through corner number 2. Here is corner number 3. Now very short straightaway heading uphill to corner number 4. You can see the field filing through here. Jeff Bodine is the leader, and look at Bill Elliott, who is challenging now Rusty Wallace for second. He has already passed Terry Labonte to move into third position. So we have Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Bill Elliott. Then comes the number 11 car driven by Terry Labonte. So a good start for Bill Elliott, as he would like to show his prowess on a road course this afternoon.
Bill has run very well on this road course in the past, Bob, but he's never had any luck here. He's had problems of one sort or another, but he does run well here.
Looks like it's going to be a very clean first lap. You can see Dale Earnhardt, his track record, led, of course, by Jeff Bodine. Well, when you talk about, we have a spin involving Ken Bouchard in car number 10. Ken Bouchard has slid off course in turn number 1, trying to get the car back onto the racetrack. When he finds the traffic clear, he will do so. There he is going back out onto the course, but Ken Bouchard has 5:27. The green and white car is Rusty Wallace. The number 11 red and white machine is driven by Terry Labonte. And here's another spin. This is the number 31 car driven by Joe Ruttman, the Slender U Figure Salon Oldsmobile that has gotten off course and kicked up some dust.
Morgan Shepherd went by him there. Of course, Ruttman, an accomplished road racer. Let's see if we can pick up Joe Ruttman's spin, Dale Jarrett's Harges machine, as Mark Martin moves around Dale Jarrett. And there you see Ruttman getting off course, going into the turn and sliding around out on the grass.
And I believe we've had a change of position here. Rusty Wallace has gone into the lead, and Terry Labonte is going to move to second position, dropping Jeff Bodine back to third.
Those tires awfully hot. They punish the tires a lot here, sliding them through the turns, and as they heat up, here's another spin. There's Bill Parsons.
I think this could be an incident of contact with the guardrail. Maybe not, but Bill Parsons is close to that Armco barrier there on the left. If he did not hit it, he came very, very close. Bill Parsons in car number 55 gets things going once again. And yeah, I think he did have at least slight contact with the barrier.
Yeah, it looked like the left rear part of the quarter panel was bent in a little bit.
Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Larry Nuber, and Jerry Punch back at Watkins Glen International Raceway, and we have had some excitement in the opening laps. We are under a full course caution at the moment because of a blown engine by Benny Parsons, but Jeff Bodine led the early going, and then it was Rusty Wallace's turn to come from second position and pass Jeff Bodine.
Bodine just opened the door and left. Going into the turn, Rusty slipped in there. He'd been waiting for that opportunity since the green flag dropped, and he moved right around, and looked like Rusty maybe scraped the rail just a little bit as we saw the dust fly.
And Benny Parsons also with a problem, as we got the shot from Dale Jarrett's car, the in-car. There's Benny on the right side of your screen. You can see the big puff of smoke coming from that car, and a fire, as a matter of fact. And at that point, Benny Parsons pulled the car off the racetrack, perhaps sliding in his own oil just a little bit. He's pulled off the track now, and that's the reason for the full course yellow. Real heavy action there in the pits. This is the story and the reason that we are under caution. Jeff Bodine has crashed, and apparently he blew a tire, broke the suspension. The car came in contact with the Armco barrier. This is how it happened.
Of course, Jeff was running in the third position, and you can see that he went off of the track there for just a moment as the tire went down, and then apparently the suspension broke on it and sent him over into the guardrail.
You could see that the what appeared to be
able to go the rest of the distance from here as far as the fuel is concerned.
So 57 laps completed, and we are in our 6th caution period of the afternoon. And there's Michael Waltrip in the Country Time number 30 machine, and that car has given up the ghost, but he gave it a great run.
He really did have a good run today, and you can see him at the left of your screen as he comes off the turn and the car starts to blow. Here he is right in the middle of a bunch of traffic, and boy, the smoke goes out, and that really blinds the cars behind him. But he does get it off of the track and out of harm's way. It looks like some fire coming out of that, as we saw earlier on Benny Parsons' car. And sometimes that'll happen as the oil comes out of the engine, gets on the exhaust pipe, and that's what causes the fire.
Well, he was racing with a...
2 weeks ago now. We just got to worry about this weekend.
Ken Schrader is a lot like Bobby Allison. He just can't let a race pass up if he's close to it. He's got to go to it, whether it's a short track or on dirt or whatever. And Kyle Petty is off course. A tough break for Kyle, who was running so strong this afternoon. Kyle Petty is off course. He has made contact with the Armco barrier. This might bring out a full course caution. We are on lap number 68. We will watch Doyle Ford, who is positioned right across from our broadcast booth, and see if he indeed does wave the yellow flag. And if he does have a caution waving, it'll change the strategy.
This indeed will change the strategy. We are told that Goodyear had waved off the mandatory yellow flag that would have flown maybe a few laps from now. So now the yellow is out. It will be a break for the top teams. Rusty Wallace, it'll be a great break for him, as it was for Harry Gant and Phil Parsons, who had not pitted on those last 2 yellow flags. They will get to come in. It'll be fresh rubber, full tank of fuel, and now we'll see who can push the button for these final few laps.
Here comes Phil Parsons in. You saw a shot there as Kyle Petty was being helped from his car, so perhaps he suffered an injury in that incident. We'll check the fray. Kyle Petty apparently is just suffering from exhaustion. He has reclined on the ground, and you can see that he is, if not in pain, certainly suffering from exhaustion. So the medical crew will attend to him. He has brought his car off the racetrack, made contact with the Armco barrier, and we hope that Kyle Petty is not seriously injured.
Waltrip is certainly one of the better road racers.
Ricky Rudd is second, and Mark Martin has spun off course. Mark Martin, the number 6 Stroh light machine. He's got some damage there to the left rear of the car, indicating that he too has come in contact with the guardrail, but he's trying to get that car back on course.
Yeah, and it's not turning the way that it needs to. You can see the damage to the left rear of the car, and apparently there's damage to the front as well. Now he does get it headed back out, but you can see damage to the left front of the car as well.
And look at the action outside of Dale Jarrett's car. That's Bill Elliott who passes Dale Jarrett.
Dale, I think, got a little crossways right before that, and that let Bill Elliott, and now Rusty Wallace moves around.
Of Dale Jarrett, and we have another car that has gone off course. That's the 88 car driven by Morgan Shepherd, right? Alan Kowicki, we understand, is also slid off course. So these guys are letting it all hang out here in the last 15 laps. We're at 75.
Well, with 25 cars still in the lead lap, you know, you got to go for it. You got to give it everything you have with not too many more laps to go, and some of them just overdid it.
Here comes Mark Martin in for a stop. They're going to be checking that car to see if they can get the body work pulled away from the tires that will allow Mark to get back there in competition. Jack Roush, of course, the owner of that team. The yellow flag is out again. There's oil on the racetrack.
So maybe that's why we saw so many cars going off the track over there, is that there was oil on the racetrack.
Another caution period slows the race. Right side. Now let's take a look at an incident that Dale Jarrett was involved in just a few minutes ago. Getting,
well, Dale, yeah, he does get a little bit crossways. Yeah, he really did get crossways. And
he could have come in contact with Sterling Marlin on that little incident, but anyway, Dale did a nice job of spinning halfway around but saving it, keeping the car headed in the right direction. Darrell Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, a car off the track.
That looks like Davey Allison's car.
I think it's Herschel McGriff.
Yeah, okay.
The 04 car is off the track and has made contact. You know what this could mean? Another full course yellow. We'll look and see. Looks like the Doyle Ford is, grabbing the yellow, and we're going to have another slowdown. Our 8th caution period of the afternoon comes out. Unbelievable. These guys just have not had that much of an opportunity to race with each other. Pulls into the pit area, and here we go. 86 laps completed. We've got 4 to go, and the racing resumes.
Well, this is what it's all about as they head down into turn 1. Waltrip protects his position going in there.
Waltrip will win the race to the first corner. We've got a lot of passing going on here in the middle of the pack. That's Ken Schrader, Dale Jarrett, side by side with Bobby Hillin Jr. Look at this pack of cars. Every position is very important because of Winston Cup points.
Absolutely, because there's a break of 5 points down through 6 positions and 4 points from there on back. That's Bobby Hillin Jr. behind Dale Jarrett. And Richard Petty off the pace down on the inside. Petty was running in the 9th position, but he's off the pace.
Apparently a tire going down in the Richard Petty car, so he drops back. Ken Schrader may also be having a tire problem, we understand.
Well, we saw Dale Jarrett, Bobby Hill, and several others pass him there on the restart. Here are the leaders.
Can Rudd pull off the pass here for the lead? I think he's got it. Rudd goes into the lead, passing Darrell Waltrip.
Made a good, smooth, slick pass. Waltrip certainly won't give up.
Here comes the shootout we've been talking about. Mike Alexander holds on to third position. This is lap number 87. Is that smoke coming from Waltrip's car? It is indeed. A lot of smoke is coming from Darrell Waltrip's car. It may not be able to make it to the finish. Mike Alexander goes to second. Here comes Rusty Wallace into third, and Rusty is not out of this, but Darrell Waltrip is.
Well, will he bring out the yellow? I don't know if he's putting anything down on the racetrack or not. He's certainly putting a lot of smoke out there for the drivers coming up behind him. And the yellow, well, there's the black flag out because
the number 67 car, Braun Esau, is smoking badly also. You can see a trail of oil from outside that Darrell Waltrip car. So indeed there is some fluid being put down on the racetrack, but we do not see a caution flag in the hand of Darrell Ford. Now let's see what happens here for second. Rusty's going for it. He's got second position. Mike Alexander is back to third, and Rusty Wallace could very well win this race.
Can I change my vote? I'll tell you, he has come up through there from nowhere. Of course, we have seen him run well all day long. One of the most aggressive drivers out here, but I'll tell you, Ricky Rudd is tough on a road course, and he might be able to hold Rusty off.
This time by, there will be 2 more laps to go, and what an afternoon Rusty Wallace has had. Here he comes off of corner number 7. I think he's going to get the lead from Ricky Rudd. Let's see if he does. They come down the front stretch, going into turn number 1. Rudd has the inside line. Rusty just cannot make the pass, and he stays in second.
That's not the place to pass on this racetrack, not on the outside. If he'd been on the inside, that's okay, but Rudd was holding that inside line, and he's going to use that racetrack to his advantage. You can bet your bottom dollar. So
Rusty now looks for the setup that will put him around Ricky Rudd, but Rudd is doing a tremendous job holding off the challenge from Rusty. Here comes the rest of the field through turn number 3. Back up front we go. Rudd and Rusty Wallace are battling for position and the lead and the win. Next time by, it'll be the white flag. Bill Elliott is moving into third position, passing Mike Alexander, and here comes Phil Parsons, as Parsons and Mike Alexander are side by side through the corner, and Mike a little bit sideways, but he saves it nicely.
I think he got nudged just a little bit by Phil Parsons. Here comes Dale Earnhardt running in 6th place, pulling up on that pack of cars.
Look at Rusty Wallace trying everything he can to pass Ricky Rudd and take the lead for the win. They're off of corner number 6. They head for turn number 7. Here's an attempted pass. Nope, Rusty thinks better of it. They come off of the 7th corner. The white flag is out. 1 more lap to go. Will it be Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, or someone else that wins this race? Well, we had some slow-paced activity in the middle sections, but certainly not now, as we are really battling for that win. Rusty is right on the back bumper of Ricky Rudd off of corner number 1, headed for 2.
Rudd knows that he cannot make the slightest mistake. If he does, Rusty Wallace will stick the nose of that Pontiac in there. Again, Rudd very smooth. We'll
race down the backstretch now. Rusty Wallace looks to the inside of Ricky Rudd. They're separated by about a car length. Now Rusty begins to close in just a little bit. He looks to the outside of Ricky Rudd. Can't find the chance to pass. He's going to have to do it in turns number 6 or 7. If these guys tangle, Bill Elliott is right back there in third position, seeing what's going on. Rusty will try to make a final move here. They come down through corner number 6 now. Rusty is going to have to make a move if he wins this race. I don't think he's going to do it.
I don't think he can do it either. Ricky Rudd is too smooth. He has the line that he wants. He's using the racetrack to his advantage. He's going to slow it down in that turn, and
they bump. Here they come off the 7th corner. Who's going to win it? They're side by side. Rusty is well off the track. He cannot win it, and Ricky Rudd does. Unbelievable.
We knew it was going to be that kind of a race when the green flag flew again.
We have a crash. Davey Allison involved in a crash. Several cars have come together. And a car also spinning off course. Maybe some oil. That's Ernie Irwin that slid off course. It's the car pointed in the right direction and takes off again.
Dale Jarrett is spun over there somewhere. He was late to get back, and Ricky Wilson also was in a crash. He came across the start-finish line. So was Brett Bodine. He was involved, so a big car crash.
Well, here it is again. Rick Wilson with some major body damage to that car, and we'll see how it all happened. He's hit by Terry Labonte.
Yes, he is, and Labonte goes around, and there's Davey Allison going around. and Brett Bodine gets in it in the car number 15.
So a melee there on the final lap that causes several cars to come together. But the story is Ricky Rudd, who has won the Budweiser at the Glen, holding off the enormous challenge of Rusty Wallace. Coming through corner number 7, Rusty got all 4 tires off the racetrack. He was in the grass, but he did hang on to second, just couldn't find the opportunity to pass Ricky Rudd, and Rudd wins it.
He certainly gave it that old college try. He did everything that he possibly can, but Ricky Rudd was using the racetrack to his advantage, and that's what he's supposed to do when he's up front.
This will be the 9th win of his Winston Cup career. Now this is where Ricky Rudd grabbed the lead from Darrell Waltrip just a few laps ago.
Waltrip's car had begun to smoke a little bit at that point. He pulled down to the inside, or pulled to the outside, I guess it would be, as they go into a turn, and Rudd takes the lead, and you can see the smoke from Waltrip's car becoming a little bit.
And now the finish of the race as everybody came through corner 7. Look at Rusty Wallace get completely off the racetrack. The car is sideways. He gathers it in, however, and finishes second, but Ricky Rudd wins the race. And now the crash that occurred on the final lap, and this is from Dale Jarrett's in-car camera, the Hardee's race cam.
Okay, Sterling Marlin up behind Jarrett, and it looks like he hit Jarrett, and the car number 8 of Bobby Hillen spins around. You can see Jarrett going in every direction.
Wins his first Winston Cup race of 1988 and his 9th career victory. This was his 312th start in Winston Cup competition.